Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look and install a Curt Class 3 trailer hitch on a 2009 GMC Acadia. So here we have the hitch installed, and normally on the Acadia you have this plastic fascia, and as you can see with this trailer hitch it doesn't actually go back on, but it still looks really great. And part of that is its nice steel construction is black powder coat finish to give it a nice OEM look. Now, looking a little bit closer, we see it is a 2" by 2" opening, and that's going to be great for a bunch of different accessories, whether it be a trailer, a bike rack, a cargo carrier, whatever life may throw at you. So you're going to see it does have a 5/8 standard hitch pin hole, and this is going to allow you to put your accessories in place. Now, this is required if you put anything in your hitch. So the hitch doesn't come with one, and many of your accessories will, but if you don't have one or you'd like to get a locking option, we have both of those here at eTrailer. Also, you're going to see this is a plate style safety chain loop. So these openings here allow for larger style clevis hooks as well as your standard hook. As far as weight capacities go, this hitch has a tongue weight rating of 500 pounds, and that's going to be the downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube hitch. So that way when you load up accessories that are free floating like your bike racks or cargo carriers, you can load up to that amount of weight. Now, it does have a gross trailer weight rating of 5,000 pounds, and that's going to be the weight of the trailer plus the accessories loaded up. Now, this can be used with weight distribution, and that's going to bump the numbers up a little bit. The tongue weight jumps up to 600 pounds, and the gross trailer weight is going to be 6,000. Now, it's important to consult your vehicle's owner's manual to see what the vehicle is capable of towing and compare that number with the weight ratings on the hitch and take the lower of those two numbers just to keep you safe. A few important measurements that you're going to want to check before loading your accessories up are going to be measuring from the center of the hitch pin opening to the furthest point on the rear fascia, which is about 3.5 inches. And that's going to be important when loading your accessories up to make sure that it doesn't make contact with your fascia or any part of the vehicle. Something else to note is going to be your ground clearance. So measuring from the top of the receiver tube opening to the ground is 18 inches, which is a good amount of clearance. But something to take in consideration when you have accessories loaded up that hang out, going up an incline can put those pretty close to the ground. So just be aware of that when you have that loaded up and going on inclines or any roads that might not be so smooth. Install of the hitch on the Acadia is pretty straightforward. It can be done in your driveway. You'll have to drop the exhaust down a little bit, but I'm about to walk you through the steps and make sure that you get your hitch installed properly. To begin our installation, we're going to be removing our center fascia panel here, and it's going to be very easy with just a quarter turn of these plastic knobs. From there, that should pop out. You may have to wiggle a little bit or push behind it, and that'll drop out. Now we're going to be dropping our exhaust down, and that's going to gain us access to where we mount our hitch in. And in order to do that, we're going to be removing the exhaust hangers here. And so this is a vehicle that has a little bit of corrosion and buildup. So what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is just spray a little bit of penetrating oil, and that's going to help these rubber gaskets kind of slide off a little bit easier. Now I'm going to show you that there is 2 on each side here. And then on your other side, it's going to be the same. So go ahead and spray those down. Now you're going to need a pry bar to get those off. And generally a long pry bar, you're able to pry on here and get it off. But before doing that, you're going to want to support your exhaust. You don't want that hanging down, as it can cause damage on the exhaust pipe itself. So what I've found using is a strap here. I'm going to find just 2 points that are on each side of the vehicle to create a cradle here on this exhaust. So looking at these suspension arms, I found 2 spots here, and we can just cinch this up. So now grab your pry bar and let's get these exhaust hangers off. So using a long flathead or a pry bar here, try to use the metal here provided to kind of just push this back. It may take a little bit of time to get this loose, but a little prying here, and we got it off. So go ahead and we're going to continue this on the other 3 hangers. So now that we have that loose, you can see it hanging down a bit. Now, having a ratchet strap or a cam buckle strap like this is really nice because once it's actually lowered down and supported, you can kind of slowly release this, and that's going to drop the exhaust down and gain us access to be able to put the hitch in place. So underneath the muffler, you're going to see these two holes, and that's where we're actually going to bolt our hitch up to. Now, this one has lived its life in the Midwest where salt and winter are very real, and they cause corrosion in these holes. So before putting our hardware up there, what I'm going to do is spray a little bit of penetrating oil in those holes. And using a tube brush here, I'm going to just kind of clean these out, and that's going to allow that hardware to go in and not cause any issues to the threads. So go ahead and scrub those out. Now, if you don't have a tube brush like this, we have these here at eTrailer, and they are a nice handy tool for this instance. Now, if you don't have one, you can also use the hardware itself and slowly work it through, or just maybe a toothbrush if you can, something to kind of get in there and scrub this out. But as you can see, a lot of this buildup, that's going to cause issues for our threads. So we have the two on this side, there's two on the other, and then there's also two in the center on your bumper beam. So on your center beam, these are welded weld nuts in here, so it's going to go in just the same. Now, some models, they actually have this open up and you'll be using a fish wire technique. But since we have the welded nuts in there, we're going to go ahead and do the same process with our tube brush. Now, they do provide hardware for both options, so if you don't have the weld nut, you can actually use this carriage bolt with the fish wire technique. It's pretty straightforward. But since we have this one here, we're going to show you the install on that. Now, I went through with my tube brush and I tried to feed the bolts through, and it wasn't going too well. So we actually ended up using a thread tap here. And we have these here at eTrailer from Performance Tools. And this is really gonna just pull out that rust and corrosion on the threads and make it nice and clean for that bolt to go in. So now we're getting ready to put our hitch on. You're gonna wanna grab an extra set of hands to make it a little bit easier. So we'll be sliding the hitch over the exhaust, and make sure that you have your hardware with you. Now, it does have a conical tooth washer, and you can see the little teeth here, and it kind of curves in. You're gonna want that against the metal, and really you only need one on each side for now, just to get it in place to where it's hands-free. So, go ahead and slip it up. Feed your hardware through, and just get that started. Once you have the hitch in place, you can go ahead and put the rest of your hardware in, just hand tight, so you'll have the two on each side as well as the two in the middle. Now that we have our hardware hand tightened in place, we'll go ahead and tighten them down with a 19mm socket. Now, you don't have to get too crazy on your torque on this or really cranking it down, because we're going to go back later with a torque wrench and make sure that they're at the proper spec. But for now, we'll zip this up in place. This is also a good time to check the alignment of the hitch itself on the vehicle. You do have slotted holes on this, so it can allow for a little bit of movement. So for instance, I see here, I'm a little bit off. I could center this up. So I'll make sure I'm gonna loosen these up back, center it, and then tighten it up. Now that we have the hardware tightened up, I'm gonna go back with my torque wrench and that same 19mm socket and tighten these down. Now you're going to want to use the torque specifications in the instructions that the manufacturer suggests. And if you don't have a torque wrench, we sell these here at eTrailer, and this is going to make sure that you have that proper torque to make sure it's not too tight or too loose on your vehicle. If you need one right away, a lot of times in an auto parts store, you're able to go out and rent these. So with those torqued down properly, we're pretty much ready to put our exhaust back up and get ready to use our hitch. Don't forget to take your strap down once your exhaust is all hooked up. And that was a look and the installation of a Curt Class 3 trailer hitch on a 2009 GMC Acadia. Thanks for watching.